We had so much amazing citrus this year. What a blessing. We didn't get oranges, but we got lots and lots of lemons and satsumas, and I will use them all up, minus the ones we gave away. This is part one of the How to Preserve Citrus series. Let's get going. Some are peeled, most are still left, but it's progress. So what we need to do, we need to peel and then get all this white pithy stuff off, and really thoroughly, because that what makes them bitter when they're canned up. And then we'll break them apart in pieces, and then we're ready to pack them in jars. Hours later, I went from the big pile to finally this. There's that much of that pith stuff coming off. Looks like cheese. It's kind of pretty, actually. They're pretty good. Now I'm gonna call it quits for now, but I may tomorrow. There are a few that have seeds, and I'll just snip it with scissors and then press the seeds out. A lot of people cut them and then peel them. This too is way too much work for me. I mean, it would take days to finish all the many pounds I have. So that's not gonna happen. The ones that you buy in the store, the mandarins in the can, they have been, obviously they don't sit there peeling that stuff off. They actually dip them in an acid and it dissolves the skin and everything around. That's why they're just flesh. I don't even want to eat those. I think that's a gross process. So we'll eat them with the skin. It's healthy and they still be fabulous to eat. I will also pack some lemons in the jars with the satsumas, the tangerines. And to prepare them, I'll just cut around there like this, and then just slice it up in pieces. There's no big pith peeling for me on those. They just go in as are. See, once they're cut in half and you get this center pith part out, they kind of come apart in slices quite nicely. Now these are Mayer lemons. Honestly, I don't know if that works with the regular store lemons too. Everything is set up. We have the satsumas. I have those tiny little things that are a little sour, and I'll also put some lemon slices in it. Get the lids. I'm not making a syrup. You can can these in just water, a light syrup, a super light syrup, a medium syrup. I'm just going to put probably, I have pint jars, probably a little short of a teaspoon of sugar directly in the jar. That works fine. And I'll also add just a tiny tad little bit of salt. You need something to wipe your top before, the utensils, the ladle to get the hot water on, the jar thingy, and my plastic thing to get the bubbles out. Of course, I have jars. I'm gonna do a round of the pints, and then if there's something left over, I'll do the half pints, because they are the perfect snack size, the perfect dessert size. I'm using tattler lids. Those are the plastic lids that come with the rubber bands. They are reusable. I'm loving my tattlers. I never ran out of lids. Then I need a pot of hot water to fill up the jars. And I'm using the pressure canner pot, but I won't be pressure canning it. It's a water bath. I'm just using this because my stock pot isn't quite tall enough, in case I want to put a couple quarts in it as well, which I may do later with the lemons. So I store my jars with the lid on. They're cleaned always and with the lid on. That way I don't have 30 jars and I'm not going into sterilizing jars. I know there are some gasps out there. What I do, which may be a little horrible for some people, I take them and put them in the microwave, and I just noticed the eggshells are in here. We microwave them so we can crush them and give them back to the chickens. So I put all my jars in here to warm them up, because I don't want to shock them, obviously, and then the bottom falls out. They all go in here. It goes on for a minute and then maybe another 30 seconds while I walk off. I don't want to be around the microwave. This and the eggshells is the only thing we use it for. And I've been doing this for 13 or so years. I never had a jar failure because of it. And it's so convenient. It's right above the stove. I don't have to handle wet jars or start up an oven to heat them up. This works fine. So one word on the tattler lids, they have to boil. The regular lids, they don't even recommend boiling anymore. You just put them in some warm water to get them warmed up. But the tattlers have to boil. I usually let them boil for a good 10 minutes. And that way the rubber is soft and the cap has expanded, whatever it does. And also with the tattlers on water bath, I do not take all the jars out and fill them up all at once. I do a jar at a time so that when that lid is hot, it goes on and then straight under the water in the canner, and that way they don't cool off. Ready to go. The lids have been boiling. I'll shut this down a little bit now. This is the water to top it off. That's just at a bare simmer right now. And the water where the jars go in is getting pretty warm too. I keep the lid on this. Now it's time to jar up. The jar is heated. Now I'm adding some tangerines. And then 2 or 3 of the lemon slices. And some of these little cutie, sour cutie things. And some more tangerines. I'll pack it down a little. And then top it with a ladle of water. If you're new to canning, this is what you want to can because it's just about the simplest thing you can do. Some sugar, a little bit of salt, some more water. This requires no preheating of the, you can do a hot pack where you warm it up first, but it's not necessary. So that makes coordinating everything a whole lot easier. Now we need to get the bubbles out. You take some plastic or wood. Don't use metal, it can ruin the jars. You get the water out, and right here is the 1-inch mark. I might put just a little bit more in it because they may have some air in them. Here we go. Then we wipe the rim of the jar, which may not even be necessary in this case. Now I need to go fish out a lid with the band, with the rubber thing I meant. And then on the tattlers, they basically screw on the same as the regular lids. You just, where it starts catching it, that's how you do it. Now some people put vinegar in their water if they have hard water so it doesn't get that cloudy film on the outside after they come out. I choose not to do that anymore because, I don't know if you can see this, it really does a number on the bands. They start corroding over time. So what I do once they're out, because I wash all the jars anyway when they come out of the canner, once they're cooled off, I'll just put some water in, some vinegar in the water, and then they are nice and crystal clear either way. So let me get ready to put this in the canner, and then I have quite a few more to do. Here we go, last one going in the pot. And lid on, and as soon as he comes to a boil, I'll set the timer for 10 minutes. And while I'm getting ready for the next batch. Let's take a peek in the pot. It's not quite there yet. I want it on a little more rolling boil, but it's getting there. So when it's like this, don't start your timer yet. Wait another couple minutes. Fog. This is good enough for me. I'll set the timer. So, could you have juiced all these fruits and then canned it? Yes, of course. This is orange juice and this is lemon juice, but there are a couple things to know. For one, it'll settle over time. The lemon juice is from 2 years ago. Let me shake this up. And you see how brown it is? That's because it oxidizes when it sits too long. It tastes exactly the same as fresh canned one. It just doesn't look as appealing. The orange juice is from last year. It still has the yellow. The lemon oxidizes quicker than the orange. But yes, you can juice that up. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't freak out, even if it settles. It's really, really good and a great way to preserve it too if you don't have freezer space. 10 minutes are up. time to shut the gas off, and then we'll just wait until the bubbling stops. We'll let it sit like that. It needs to sit for a little bit, and then we'll start taking them out. So the water's fairly still. Now it's time to take them out. So when you take out jars with tattler lids, you want to take them out. Don't tip them to get any of the water off or anything, just like with other jars. And then you hold them and tighten them up. They need to be tightened once they come out, and then they'll be good to go. Now I'm left with all this. Now that's a couple pieces of fruit and a whole lot of liquid. And the liquid is not water. This is truly liquid that came out of the lemons and the tangerines. I'm gonna can that up too, add a little bit more sugar to it, and it'll be a perfect citrus lemonade. The aftermath. While the last pot is going, after this is out and they cool down, we'll crack a jar. Here it is. This one didn't seal, so that was perfect anyway. They turned out quite nice. They taste good. And you got this little syrupy sauce in it. This is unchilled. I suspect in summer when it comes out of the refrigerator, this is a fantastic dessert or just snack for a hankering of citrus. Yummy, well worth it. Obviously, I'm gonna have a lot more to go.